I have some questions for you, for the camera. That is you. Is the lighting okay? Is it too bright? Is my hair crazy? Do I look gross? I do not know. One sec. Okay, are we even going? That's the outside, by the way. And my school is that away. Can't really see, but I'm gonna go run. Trying to get back into shape, trying to push myself, trying to get healthy. And I love to run, and I've missed it, and I've gotten back into it the past few weeks. So hair. I'll get going in a bit, but I just wanted to do this mini vlog update, whatever, and we're gonna call this video, I do have a name. Oh, that's my sister. She's such a good texter. I appreciate people who text back, and I'm like the last one to say something, so I'm left on red, you know? Okay, this is gonna be called My Life, and there are a hella amount of cars going by, like hell's amount. Highly embarrassing, but that's okay. Trying to be braver, push past the anxiety, and just get out of my comfort zone and embarrass myself intentionally. Okay, my life just got less toxic, comma, thank God, but I might just call this my life just got less toxic, or I could say afterwards updates, you know, like parentheses or whatever those little cutesy star things are called. Pound? No, that's the like number symbol, right? Anyway, and now there's humans walking by. Okay, and then, oh, need my phone again. The video this video right here, right now, that I'm doing right now, is based on like a continuation and update for my last video. No, I lied, I've done other ones. A rant on my toxic life, which was like 2 weeks ago. And this is gonna be the updated version, part 2. And you can tell from the title just that there's been an obvious, legit improvement since I uploaded that. And as of Friday, I've truly been able to breathe, whereas the past 3 years, I feel like I've really had to walk on eggshells, and I've had to keep things quiet, and I've had to be just a liar. I didn't have to be, but that's just what happened. That's how things went down. So like shit went down because of the lies and the drama and how things were so complicated. So I guess story time, update time, and yeah, I'm just feeling more content and peaceful. And the thing about contentment is it's a happiness, but I think it's more based on peace of mind and peaceful vibes, if that makes sense. So it's like this inner joy and this peace about you that life will be okay. It might not mean that life is good necessarily, but it can mean like your outlook, your perspective, your point of view has somehow managed to see life as okay. Not perfect, but it's decent, and you're somehow content in the chaos, whether it be slight or dramatic or extreme, who knows. But anyway, so a number of things have happened to have me in this state of mind where I'm feeling this contentment and feeling more peace in my life. And it's only been a few days. Here it is. I already forgot what day it is. Tuesday, May 25th, if you can see that. And yeah, last Friday, things just changed. So it's been less than a week. And I'll talk about anxiety first, and then the specifics of what happened on Friday and what's been the ongoings on of the past few days up till now. So my anxiety, I have social anxiety. And imagine a trial, a challenge, a hardship that you face every day, and basically all of us do, because there is a crisis in everybody's life, and it can take place every day. It can be minor, it can be extreme, it can be in between. So everybody has shit happen to them, and it can be a hard ass life. Life is not easy. I don't think it's easy for anyone. Even if you may see someone and in your eyes, they seem so perfect and content, and their life is a dream and it's just a piece of cake. But no, it's hard. Life is hard for everybody in their own way, okay? And there's another car coming. But the thing of it is that with my social anxiety, it's everywhere I go. So perhaps you have a trial that you face every single day, the vast majority of the day, or the same as me, it's like everywhere you go. So my anxiety stems off of interaction and other people. It's social anxiety. So I do feel it everywhere I go, everywhere from errands, even my home sometimes, hanging out with friends, meeting new people. And it's like appointments and phone calls and, as I said, errands. It's a number of things, and it's unhealthy, scary. It's just not fun, and it's something I battle every day. I'm grateful for my life. I have a lot to be thankful and grateful for, but it's just a hard life. Anxiety makes for a life of pain, and I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it's exhausting to live that way, to live with anxiety. And I have other health problems as well in my brain. My body's pretty healthy, but upstairs in my head, there's depressed thoughts, there's dark thoughts at times, anxiety, as I said. I struggle with paranoia as well. So things like that, everything from OCD to ADD, and depressed thoughts, as I said, and then anxious thoughts, as I said. So, my anxiety, I've been really trying to push past it. And there are times when I forget about it, when I don't feel anxious around other people and I'm at peace and I'm enjoying the moment and I'm all there. My mind is not like freaking the frack out, you know? So, sometimes I do enjoy. The vast majority of the time, though, I'm in my head too much and I'm not invested in that time with that human being, you know? Whether it be stranger, friend, family member, best friend, significant other, whoever, you know. So I've been really trying to beat it. And yesterday is a perfect example. So yesterday was an anxiety filled day, and I have those a lot. So on my plate, like on my to-dos list, you know, which I check off and I'm so proud of that, you know, so it changes every day, but I try to do some of the same things every day. So I have things to be excited about. I have things to get done, these personal projects, things that help me to treat myself and reward myself because of the anxiety throughout my day. The things that change every day, like appointments and activities and events and things. And yesterday is a perfect example of a variety of things. So my class, I have it Monday, Wednesday this semester, just the one class. I'm off track and I'm able to do a class if I want, and I am. And it's a conference type class where you like interview kids, you do conferences with them. And my nephew, I work with him, and yesterday was my first day. So those were two anxious like school activities for me. I'm always anxious for my class, and it took place yesterday, you know, the start of the week, and it can just be an anxious moment for me. I participate, and my parents say that I don't come across as anxious or nervous. You know, they say I hide it pretty well, or I've just practiced so much that I come across in a way that doesn't appear to be anxiety. And my class always goes fine. That's the thing about anxiety, is it's the fear of the unknown and the fear of you screwing up and embarrassing yourself. And a lot of those things don't come to pass. Like the vast majority of those fears and problems in your head, they're not legit, they're not real, and they're like a lie. It's like fear of what's not going to happen, but you fear it because it's a possibility that oftentimes won't come true the vast majority of the time. And so I survived my class, right? And I love to check that off. Class at 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday, Wednesday. So I have it tomorrow. It's Tuesday right now. Well, today. And then I had my conference that afternoon. My nephew, he's 8 years old. He's in the second grade. He comes over to our house sometimes. He's a great kid. He made me an aunt. He's the first of the grandkids to my parents, and he's just really cute kid. He's talkative, communicative. He talks a lot, and he's very smart, especially for his age. His conversations, he's more adult than child. He's great. And the conference was just like A1. Is that what you call it? It was like A plus plus plus. It was a great experience and opportunity. He was happy to be there. He said I did a pretty good job. He said I would deserve an A, and he said he would be surprised if I got a B or anything less, you know. So he's just very positive and upbeat, and he's so excited about me wanting to teach, you know. I won't really be able to teach him. I don't think. I might not teach in this area. I might not be close to him. He might get older and older by the time I teach. Who knows? But he's just excited that I'm doing this, and I just really love and appreciate and adore him for that and his support and everything. He got me this like pointing stick from the dollar store. If few weeks ago, and I have it. It's with all of my other like school excited items that I'm starting to collect, you know, and prepare for my classroom. So that was just really, really sweet and kind of him, and it was just very exciting, and I'll keep it forever, and I'll definitely be using that in my classroom. And if you want to see a car, there you go. Okay, we're doing pretty good for time. So just a few more things, and then I will, I think, get going. But the rest of my day, I'll be kind of brief about this. The main things I wanted to talk about were related to school because that's one of the most important things in my life right now. And then, well, obviously, I'll have to talk more about this one specific thing, the Friday events, you know, because that's the most major thing in my life right now, obviously, what happened to lead up to Friday and how the past few days have been because of Friday. So definitely have to talk long and hard about that, or think long and hard about that, whatever. So with the rest of my day, that evening I had family home evening, FHE, and it's basically where college kids get together, like they're grouped up through our church, like our church boundaries. Like I'm attending BYU Idaho, like a church school in my area where I live, and so they like break us up into groups. I live at home. I'm not in the dorms or on campus or in student housing, you know, and so I was put in a group with one of my guy friends, and I joined his group because I don't really know other people. A lot of my friends are either, you know, rooming with friends and I don't want to like invade upon their friendships, you know, that, or my friends are out of town, not here in the area. COVID has allowed people to do online classes, whereas those classes are only available on campus. The class I'm in right now, it's a flex class. So because of COVID, you have the choice to stay at home to do it online, or you can do it like online slash remote, I mean, or you can show up to class if you want. So anyway, I have friends all over the place, kind of. So I'm in this kid named Chuchi's ward. It's a cool name. So I show up yesterday to the activity, but I was there just in and out like a high and bye type thing, and I had it planned that way because of two things. Mostly because of the anxiety, obviously, and I haven't met them, and it's like halfway through the semester, so these people have had like 5 other weeks to meet, to hang out, to get to know each other, to become friends. And I'm not in the dorms, so I don't have like automatic friends, I feel like. So it's harder to make friends when you live at home. That's okay. And then anyway, I did get lost. Like, I haven't had a lot of on-campus classes, especially because of COVID and because I've done a lot of online class options. And so my friend Chuchi was on the phone with me for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't know. So I race over there and I'm late to the group. And the other reason as to why I was like high and by there was because I was just okay with meeting them, like because of the anxiety, you know, but also because they were doing like sporty stuff. Like they were in the courts. I think they were doing volleyball. It's like volleyball, but there's a W. And two of the group members, two of the guys, Chuchi and then another kid who's like in charge of the group, they spelled it that way, and I was like, I don't even know what that is, so I really can't be involved, you know. And I don't want to embarrass myself that way. I'm not sporty. All I can do is run. I'm not coordinated. I'm not competitive enough. I would just. But this group was hilarious. Like it was great. They were asking me questions. Like they went around. The dude in charge, you know, who like plans all of these activities every week. He had everybody go around, like introduce themselves slash ask me one question. And it was basically food based, like what would you put on a bagel, or what's your favorite cereal, or just like dumbass things like that, but just kind of cute, you know. And it just goes to show that I'm in like the perfect group for me because they're just weird. Like the way that they were talking and acting and interacting with me for the first time, I just thought it was kind of cute. So I felt immediately comfortable and I wasn't as anxious as I would have thought I would have been, you know. So it was just a fun time. And also, one kid did ask me, and it was like, let's see, 4 guys and 2 girls, and then me, but I was like high and by, in and out, there and gone, you know. But one of the guys was asking me, like, if the world were not round, what would it be? And I was like, square, I mean cube, you know. I don't know what I was saying, just because I was still nervous, you know, but I still wasn't as nervous as I would have thought. So those were like the main anxiety filled activities. The conference was the highlight, I think, other than the great news that I'll be sharing right now. But the conference went so well, and I'm just so excited. There's 4 more conferences throughout the semester, so I'll be able to work with my nephew Cash again and again, and it was just a good time. So it's basically an English-based class, so the student will write during these conferences, and you talk about their stories, their paragraphs, and you really dissect and digest them, which is a lot of fun. So you eat them, you digest them. But no, really. Um, so yeah, survived my class. The conference went great. And then family home evening, it went okay. It's more like friend home evening, but they just call it that because, I don't know, your group kind of becomes your family apparently. So I'm not scared of my family home evening group anymore. I'm really not. So I'm almost excited to attend again because I think it will be okay. And then also I'm doing church, and I go to Chuchi's ward, you know, like his church time, that's ward. And I've been going. I missed this past one because I was actually sick. And I went to my parents' ward because the migraine went away by the time theirs had started. So I initiated that and I volunteered to go, and I think it put my parents in a good ass mood because the rest of the day went great, and I think they appreciated that I would say I want to go to church, you know, instead of like avoid it or be sick, even though I was. But anyway, and then my grad plan, I'll talk about that, and then I'll get into the other things and stuff. Also, I'm mowing lawns. We mow lawns as a family business. My brother comes home from his like church calling church service here next month, and then he'll help us with that. He won't take over like the original plan. Like he had planned on just like stealing it and just getting all the lawns and the money from that, and then we were all like, but we started this up here in town for the first time and we've done so well, you know. But lawns is going good. We did 8 on Saturday, back to back, all of them in like 7 hours. Made the big bucks, so that's exciting. I love lawns. It's introverted, independent, not so much interaction. I adore it. It's a lot of fun. And then school, that's what I was going to say. My grad plan, according to my grad plan, I should graduate next July, so 2022. I think it's July 20th. Did I look it up? Anyway, so very pumped and excited and psyched. And I think it will be a really good thing. I put my name down for an apartment, which is really nice. I don't know how much I've updated you, how much has changed in the past like 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm just so grateful for that. And it's a really cutesy apartment. It's only $705 tops max, you know, around there anyway. And it's not a studio. The room would be like closed off. The studio is an option, but I would just want a little bit of privacy, and I might do that while I student teach. I might be there for 6 months to a year, I don't know. And I just think it could be a good thing. And I might student teach in the area, I might student teach somewhere else. They might send me somewhere else, but if my anxiety is too bad, I'll have to get permission and approval to stay here in town and live close to home. And if it's a health problem, it's totally understandable to the school, and they will cater to your needs. They want you to succeed. So the internship is after I graduate, so a year from this fall, from this September. And I've been talking a lot. Oh my, I'll try to wrap this up. So I think I've talked about basically everything, like 3 big things yesterday, and then I'll get into the Friday things and stuff. And I brought up work and school, you know, and anyway, so, okay, I don't want this to be a long story, but it is a long story, and it's so complex and complicated and things. But it's becoming less so because, you know, I think it's been going good, you know, which is a surprise and shock to me. So, okay. Chris and I are on a break, and we've been together / known each other for about 3 years. So we met 2018, and the way we met was technically through church. Like, we were Facebook friends, we met online. He initiated that, and we were just talking back and forth for a bit, and then we finally met in person. We planned to meet in a public place, so that happened, and it was at church during my church time, so we met there. And he knows about the Mormons, you know, and he has learned more, and he's gone to classes with me, you know, like school classes for my church back where I used to live in Washington, where he lives. And he would go there mostly to hang out with me, but also a little bit to learn. And then church was kind of the same thing. He only went like twice, but a part of why I wanted to meet him there was so he could immediately meet my parents, and he would eventually like ask permission to date me, like to ask me out and things, and just be kind about it that way. And I thought that was a very polite thing for him to want to do. And long story short, or like short story long, I guess, my parents immediately decided, okay, he's 6 years older than Emily. He is you know, the age gap, and then he does smoke. Like, I told him a little bit about him and that we've been talking for a while, you know. But then again, they thought that we met at church because that was the way we planned it. We didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want to get in trouble because there's been guy drama in the past, and my parents don't know about all of the guys before Chris and after my abusive ex. And Chris is basically like the only nice guy that I've really ever been with. And it's pretty sad to say because there's been a few guys and there's been abuse and assault and there's just been me being used and things. So, yeah. So my mom basically said, I don't want you to talk to him anymore. She was concerned about the age gap, especially that he wasn't a member of the church. My parents want all of their 5 kids to date and marry in the church. And I was like, okay, well, I can't date or get married to who I want to until after I graduate and move out, you know. And if I do live at home, the plan was I would still have to go to church. Like after I graduate, like post-grad, I would still have to, I say live at church? If I live at home, I would still have to go to church, even though I might be like 25 by that time. Who knows? So that's just not an option for me. Part of why I want to move out ASAP, you know, and also graduate pretty fast. I think I can. But so Chris and I were still talking. My dad threatened to smash my laptop, which is not fun or fair. I still have my laptop and everything. So Chris and I keep talking, and we're basically together for 2 years. We've been on a break for the past year now. Last year, 2020, we decided to go on a break, and things basically felt the same and still do now, even though it is a break. Like, we can date other people, but he hasn't and I have not. We haven't been with anyone else, and that is an option, and it takes the pressure off, and it's not as stressful when you're on a break. And the way that we see it, like see our friendship and relationship and everything, is that we're content and happy, and we know that we would at least always be friends because there's that deep connection there, and we just like immediately clicked and everything. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. And then I keep this a secret for like 3 years. My parents thought that there was no more Chris after he stopped coming to church, and he only stopped coming to church because I got called to teach the kids. So I was in primary for my church after those 2 weeks that he goes, like those 2 times of church in the duration of 2 weeks. And so then he stops coming, and my parents are like, okay, he's not interested in the church, but he seemed to be interested in Emily, you know, because we were talking, we were getting to know each other, and my mom was like, this is a red flag. Like, is he here just to flirt with girls, you know? So then I am called to the primary, and he's like, well, if you're not going to be there, why would I want to go? Like, I was mostly here for you. Like, it's interesting to learn about other churches and things, but, and that's the other thing, like, he's very smart, and he likes to learn and absorb information, like very fact-based, you know, which I think is really good and cool. And so anyway, Friday, just out of nowhere, I think about it all day, and then I'm like, I have to tell them. And I've been on and off about those thoughts for a long ass time, like, okay, today's the day I have to tell them, today's the day I have to tell them. And then I would just brush the thought off, if that makes sense. Like, just brush it off. Like, this is impossible. It won't end well. I will get murdered. You know, I'll never be able to see or talk to Chris ever again, at least until, like, once I moved out and everything. And who knows when that will be. Hopefully soon-ish, like, within the next year. But just so hard. Like, stressful, hard, unfair, just difficult, whatever, insert words here, past 3 years, okay? And Friday, I finally tell them, and it's a day to be remembered. I should write it down in my journal. What day was that? So Friday, the 21st of May in the year 2021, okay? And it went okay. It did. Not at first, not really. There were tears on my end. There was anger on my parents' end. They were so confused, like, so you lied to us. This is a kid who we told you not to talk to anymore. You went behind our backs, you know, whatever. And I couldn't tell them everything. I've told them a lot about Chris and his background and his personality, how he's a good person, how he's good to me, how he respects me. And basically the only thing I haven't told them is that we've had sex, you know? So, but then again, your sex life is not your parents' whatever, like your parents, they don't have to know about that. Like, that's none of their business. That's what Chris said as well, you know, like that's for us to know. And parents, I think, especially at my age, like they shouldn't have a say. I'm 23 and a half. Chris is 30 in July, you know? So, and that's the age gap. But like, they don't have to know. It's as long as you're being safe and careful, and as long as it's not abusive, as long as it's consensual. That is how you say it, right? Anyway, so I tell them on Friday, and I don't sleep well that night. My parents don't sleep well that night. We talk like all day Saturday. Aside from lawns, you know, we do lawns a lot, but in between, like, we would talk and laugh, and things like felt the same. It wasn't awkward between my parents and I. Like, it was comfortable, and we still had fun throughout the day. And there was an understanding, and there's been so much talking the past few days ever since Friday. And I feel more of a love for my parents, and I feel more of a love from them coming towards me, you know. And it's hard for me to feel love. Like, out of everybody, I feel the most love from Chris. You know, it's hard for me to feel accepted and appreciated and loved, and I just feel disliked by a lot of people just because maybe bad self-esteem or the social anxiety or something. And what are we at? Okay, I'll wrap it up here pretty soon. But I'm just so glad and grateful and thankful and whatever for Friday, for being brave, for deciding I have to tell my parents. And it was a really scary thing. I was like, I'm going to lose Chris, and he means so much to me. And I really stressed that to my parents. I was like, Chris is the most important person in my life right now, and he means so much to me. And I would appreciate it if you guys care about the person that I care about. And Wednesday, which is tomorrow, my parents had planned, okay, by Wednesday, we're going to have an answer for you if Chris can come up here, or I guess it would be down here because he's in Washington. We're in, you know, southeastern Idaho area. So he can come down though, and I found that out last night. We talked about it, and I was like, okay, so he went to the dentist today. This was yesterday, and he told me that technically it didn't end so well, so he has to get some work done, you know, his mouth, his teeth, and that's expensive. So he probably won't be able to come here anytime soon. But just the fact, just knowing that he is allowed to, like he's able to, like he can, you know, it's too expensive of a trip with the gas and the travel time and how he would have to stay in a hotel. And that's the other thing. So my parents aren't trying to be rude or anything, and Chris is aware of this. It's just, they're not really comfortable unless we were like way more serious. Like, who knows? Like, maybe if we got married, then it's fine, obviously, like for us to stay in my parents' house, or like if, you know, we were engaged or something, like if and when. But for now, they would just prefer if he's in a hotel, but they would prefer that of any of us kids, like if we were dating anybody. And again, it's a break, so it's not as serious as it was for like those first 2 years, for when I was in the same town as Chris, and then the next year still together officially and more serious, the following year, the first year that we have lived here in Idaho, if that makes sense. And so, and I really got to wrap this up. So I hope all that makes sense, and it's really good for me to talk about this and get this off my chest. I've never been able to say Chris's name for like 3 years. Like, some of my good close friends know in and out of the church, like they know how complex it's been. It's been like Romeo and Juliet. Like, how freaking sad is that? It's been such a complex, complicated, even like sad at times story. And I'm just so glad that it's been resolved, you know? So my parents have asked so many questions, and they're okay with us now, and they have heard good things about him. And I've just, it's been so good to be able to talk about him and say his name and know that my parents are okay with us. So it's just, it's a really good ass feeling, and I'm just really glad for it, and I just feel so much more at peace, and I don't feel like I have to walk on eggshells. So I would love it if Chris can come here, if I could see him as soon as possible. It's harder with schedules and expenses and work and school, and he's starting a new job. He would have come as soon as possible, and that was what my parents were trying to plan. That was why on Wednesday they would have found a good time for them. My mom goes out of town in a few days, you know, and we would have to work around that. And my mom would love to like re-meet Chris, if that makes sense, like so that we can correct what happened in the past 3 years, like how we were quiet about it, how we like lied to my parents, sadly enough. I really gotta get going. Yeah, I really have to get going. But we're just trying to correct it, and I want them to meet my parents. I want him to meet my parents and them to meet him, like officially and actually for the first time. So I would really appreciate that. And so he would have come. He's in between jobs. It's just he can't right now, because it's so expensive. So Anyway, I'll really get going. I have to end it right here, right now, which is a random time. But thanks for listening,